interesting. All these streaming services that are coming out, you know, I'm going to tell you, it's a little bit like the Beyond Meat conversation that we had a second ago, right? The reason that Beyond Meat might have a stock price that's actually justified is because nobody knows how big this market's going to be, right? It's not like they're carving a piece of an existing market that's already mature and well developed. They're carving a piece of a new market. Like who knows how many people are going to eat meatless cheeseburgers in the next decade. I don't eat meatless cheeseburgers. I might go to Burger King tonight. But you know, maybe in 5 years, you know, I'll change my mind. Maybe in a few years, people like me will see a news story that says, meat increases your chance of getting cancer. And then suddenly we all change our habits, right? So the market potential is huge because it's a new market, right? Well, the same thing is true with these streaming services. See, a lot of people, they saw Netflix just take off. Netflix is murdering the game. Let me just tell you guys this. Netflix is just insane. I'm going to tell you a little secret conversation I had with Will Smith's brother, Harry. This isn't totally secret. I don't think Harry will mind me sharing this with you. He said that when Will was making his next movie, he said back in the day they used to do these deals, these really good deals where the stars would get a certain percentage of the first dollar that came in, and it was really good money in addition to whatever paycheck they got. Then they changed the deals. They started kind of screwing the actors. They started saying, well, no, we're not going to give you a percentage of the first dollar that comes in. We're going to give you a percentage of the profit. Well, profit can be manipulated. You can pretend like you made a profit or didn't make a profit when you actually did. That's why to this day, if I'm not mistaken, Warner Brothers still swears that the Harry Potter franchise was never profitable. Come on now. Harry Potter? Really? If Harry Potter ain't profitable, nothing is, right? So, but they do that so they don't have to share much of the money, right? So Will and his brother are getting kind of tired of those deals, right? And so basically now Will still gets big checks when he signs on and takes on a movie deal. But the difference is that he has a production company, Overbrook Entertainment, that he and Jada run. And what they do now is they don't just, they'll still make movies with Will. Will will sometimes sign on for another film by another company. But a lot of the movies that you see Will Smith in now are movies that are actually owned by his company or produced by Overbrook. And then also the other interesting thing Harry brought up that I thought about it and I said, yeah, that makes sense. He said that when they did their last movie, Bright, anybody seen Bright? I don't know if you saw Bright on Netflix. When they did their movie, Bright, a lot of the studios bid on that movie. And so let's say, I don't know, because I think that they own the movie or came out of their production company. So let's say Sony bids, $25 million. Let's say that, Warner Brothers bids $30 million. Netflix came along and was like, oh no, we'll bid $80 million for the movie, right? Why? Well, because Netflix has flipped the game on its head because their model is one that generates revenue that is beyond sick compared to other Hollywood studios. They've got 100 million people, if I'm not mistaken, 100 million people giving them $10 to $15 a month, whether they watch movies or not, right? So they've got that subscription revenue, which is just insane compared to, say, Warner Brothers that only makes money when they put out a film, or Marvel. Every time they put out an Avengers movie, yeah, you hear about how much money the movie makes, but if they don't make movies, they don't make money, right? If they don't work, they don't eat. They're living paycheck to paycheck to some extent, whereas Netflix has a steady stream of income. They have almost like passive income in a way, except it's not totally passive, but they've got that income coming no matter what. So what happens is Netflix is able to bid insane amounts of money for movies that other people can't bid because they can financially justify paying that amount of money. That's why a lot of black-owned businesses get bought all the time, is because people, white folks come along and they can monetize at a higher level because they got better distribution channels. They've got other, they got a longer investment horizon. They've got all these other brands that correlated assets that they can bring into the portfolio that allow it to work. So they can bid insane amounts of money for black businesses that black people can't walk away from. That's why Essence Magazine got bought, because Time Warner, was able to bid an insane amount of money that they really couldn't walk away from. But anyway, my point in all this is to say that when Netflix was really changing the game, Netflix is walking in like they're the big boss. They're just coming in and dropping their gun on the table and outbidding everybody. Well, a lot of people said, well, shoot, well, if they're making all this money, then we can do the same thing. So that's when, all these companies started creating streaming services, Hulu and Disney and BET now and ESPN and CBS. I got the CBS app. And so part of me was thinking like, okay, how's this going to work? Well, number one, Netflix had to adjust because Netflix is not going to get the same content that they used to get. A lot of studios are going to say, no, we're not giving you our content. We're going to keep it for our own streaming service. That creates an issue for Netflix. They got to generate more stuff in-house. That's what it is. But then the second thing that crossed my mind was, at first, it was sort of like a zero-sum game. It was being analyzed as, okay, if they win, Netflix loses. If Netflix wins, they lose. Who's going to win? Who's going to win the battle of the streaming services? And then I was like, wait a minute, maybe everybody's going to win. Why? Well, because most people who subscribe to a streaming service don't subscribe to just one, right? Tell me, how many of you subscribe to more than one streaming service? Most of you probably do, right? So, there's room for Netflix and Disney and BET and ESPN and CBS and Hulu, right? There's room for all that because I know in our house, we subscribe to about 12 different streaming services because even 12 different streaming services, or maybe it's 8 or something like that, even 10 different streaming services is still cheaper than that big ass cable bill we used to pay 5-10 years ago, right? So I believe that's what's going to happen. I think for a while, it's going to take a while for that market to completely saturate. I think that there's a lot of space for a lot of companies to just share a bigger and bigger piece of pie. I don't think Netflix is going to lose. I think they figured out how to master the game really, really well. I think there might be even room for BET. What's going to happen? What's going to determine whether BET succeeds or not is whether or not they can have a model that creates content that's going to drive the subscriber base. Subscribers typically subscribe to a streaming service because of one show. I subscribe to HBO because I like Game of Thrones. I subscribe to CBS because I watched The Twilight Zone with Jordan Peele. I don't even know what else is on the CBS app because that's the only thing that led me to subscribe. I subscribe to Netflix because I have a couple shows on Netflix, right? So ultimately, that's what's driving everything. So BET can come up with that show that everybody wants to see, then they're probably going to get subscribers too, and maybe their model can work. All right, so I'm exhausted, guys. I got family upstairs waiting for me to go eat, so I'm going to take off. Do me a favor if you want to see, or not do me a favor, it's a favor for you, of course. If you want to see a recording of this lecture or you want to share it with a family member or something like that, just log in, drboycemasterclass.com. That's where everything is. All the recordings for every single lecture are in there at drboycemasterclass.com. Also, once again, I remind you guys, because you've signed up, or if you've already signed up, you get automatic entry into the next masterclass. So when you see me announce another masterclass, just know I'm going to put those the code, the registration code, right there in drboycemasterclass.com, so you can keep coming back over and over and over again. Also, I'm going to implement a certificate system there, whereas if you go through all the videos and stuff like that, you can get your certificate when you're done. The certificates are nice. Put them up on your wall. This is a university. The Black Business School is a university created for you, by you. It's for our people. I hope that you'll take as much pride in it as I do. And I want to say also thank you guys for trusting me to educate you. I educate you with all my heart because I believe in the power of what we can do as a people, and I believe in what you can do for your family. So go back, take this knowledge, take this information, go change the world, go do the damn thing. And then when you get exhausted, you get tired of the know-nothing Negroes and the people that are throwing you off your game and making you a little bit distracted, just come back. I'll refuel your spirit and give you some knowledge and information, and we're going to keep on building and keep on moving forward. So thank you guys. Have a good night, and I hope that this was a helpful conversation, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.